Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK,
And I'm Courtney.
and I'm so sorry I did not give you enough time to chew your food. Um,
It's okay. I should do it really discreetly.
how are you?
Um, I'm okay. I had a whole thing I was going to talk about and then completely forgot what it was. So, oh, I'm restarting my whole life. Um, Rebranding myself, I guess.
Okay.
I'm just thinking a lot, thinking a lot. Um, and we know I hate the law. That's
Yeah.
no secret to anyone. I'm going to take the bar. I'm going to become a lawyer, like here too. Like, fine, I'm paying my thousands of dollars to keep my license in New Jersey. Like, don't worry, that's still who I am. But like, I went to a CLE course last week. I think did I talk about this on the podcast? Oh, no, this was after we recorded, so I
Yeah,
sure didn't.
so yeah.
Because this was like Wednesday. So I went to a CLE course for like practice management, and it's supposed to be like billable hours in the AI
Okay.
like era or whatever. I don't know what they actually called it. It was not really any of those things, but it talked about doing like price points instead of like billable hours for attorneys. And so like you basically put a package together and you're like, this thing is worth 1 point, this thing is worth 2 points. So like if you like, especially if you like put someone on retainer, and so you're like, I'm like gonna pay you like 10 points up front, and then we just apply it to whatever price thing we're working on. It's not quite doing that, but that was essentially the gist of what the thing was about.
That I kind of like that a lot
Yeah.
because it makes you clients be able to afford to pay you, but also make sure that you're being paid for services rendered, not just time as an existential
Right.
being.
Well, and that's what I was talking about. I was like, is you want it to be able to like be paid for deliverables as opposed to time spent? Because especially like, and this is where like the AI era came in, is like once you start doing like contracts and drafting and you're not spending all of this time doing these things because you've already set them up to like auto do or like whatever, like,
Yeah.
but then you don't want to be like not paid for what you're worth because you are good at your job, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like it kind of offsets that. So then it was like one of the like the workout worksheets. I can't use words. One
Yeah.
of the worksheets we did was basically like set up some like pick a project
Yeah.
and set up some deliverables and like set them as like price points, and then like also like how many points worth of like effort, oops, excuse me, like effort they are.
Yeah.
And so like I try to do it from like a consulting publishing standpoint, because that's I'm not doing billables anytime soon, obviously. Um, so I was like, okay, I want to do something with what I know, because I've never done billables. I've always worked like for a company,
Yeah.
and so I was like, I don't really know enough about that to like do that. And so like I was just kind of putting together like project ideas, and like I can do catalog management, and I can like make sure your works are copyrighted and like copyright them for you if they're not, and
Yeah.
like started like putting price points on that, and like reviewing publishing agreements is like a whole different ball game. And so I was
Yeah.
like, I can um and like these package deals, obviously these things can be broken down to like per item is worth whatever. But I was like, assuming you want to do like full package catalog management publishing review before you like sign with a publisher, which again is very like niche. So I have to like figure out how to find these people, but I can do some of this without having the
Yeah.
publisher element. And I could do like, theoretically $500 to $700 packages for clients that are looking, especially if they have massive catalogs. Like, there's so many people that write like hundreds of songs and then just like don't know what to do with them. And I'm
Right.
like, well, you got to register. I mean, like, even if you're not registering everything for copyright today, like, you need to put it at least on BMI, because then you get royalties. That's how you make sure it's like concrete. You want to make sure your co-writer splits are up to date. So, like, if somebody's pitching for sync, like, these are all things you just have to like get in order, especially before you're gonna work with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I can get that together, because I'm really in this mindset of like, I really hate feeling like I'm always in survival mode. And
Yeah.
I don't know that I can go back to the like fight or flight of work every day.
Yeah.
And so if I can figure out a way to like do this like package setup And I could do even like just like a couple of packages. But I mean, I have people still in the industry, and like there are platforms. Like I mean, I'm on artist manager platforms, and then there's like a platform that connects people with attorneys or with stuff like when they're looking for certain like
Yeah.
negotiation stuff. And so like I can figure out how to join some of those platforms to like kind of get out there. And I thought about, oh my God, this is the worst part of it. I think I'm gonna have to get on TikTok. Like I think I'm gonna have to like scale myself into like my business TikTok,
Mhm.
which just sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But this guy who's like older and he's a musician, he's been talking about artist manager IO a lot, which I didn't realize because I don't pay attention on TikTok.
Yeah.
But he's been talking about it a lot. And so I actually got a client last week from him talking about it on TikTok, because they found that I was in New Orleans and they're in Baton Rouge, I think. They're like nearby.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, oh, that's like I got a client from someone else marketing the platform I'm on. So I feel like maybe I should market the platform I'm on
Maybe.
also. And then like I could kind of like turn it into something like send you to artist management for like quick consulting. And that's, 30 minutes that I don't really have to prepare for. I don't have to really think about it. It's just people asking me questions about stuff I already know. And stuff that I've been consulting people on for 5 years. So it's just
Yeah.
like second nature. But then like if they're coming from like my TikTok side, then maybe they'll be able to like they would want more of the package stuff too. And then so like if I could do that and do like just a couple packages a month even like and some light consulting, then I could do like a job that doesn't necessarily have to pay me billions of dollars. It isn't crazy. Like I could stay working at like BBG and I mean I probably wouldn't be in data entry for the rest of my life. They would eventually make me do more than that, I'm sure.
Maybe.
But like it wouldn't, I don't think anything that I would do there would ever be as stressful as being a lawyer or working at TRO. And so like I was like, I can stay there, especially if they're gonna keep giving me flexibility like I have. And I'm happy to learn the jobs. I'm happy to do
Yeah.
basically whatever. I've been editing reports for Rachel and I've been offering, I'm like, if other people need, especially since she's going on maternity leave, like I'm happy to edit other reports. Like I know the format you need now because everyone uses a pretty generic format since it's one company. Like I know the format, so I just kind of have to figure out the language you prefer, and like that doesn't take long now that I've got the template stuff down.
Yeah.
So like, and then I could just get into editing. So I've just been kind of like rewriting my whole life this week, which has been really fun. And don't worry, I talked about it in therapy. I talked about it to my my friend Shania, who's like my business counterpart, I guess. Like we meet
Yeah.
once a month and talk about business and kind of like where we're progressing and stuff. And so I've just been kind of like putting my whole life to something new and trying to lean into like I want to use the skills that I've gained. I want to use the legal knowledge I have. And I want to be able to like get paid enough that I don't have to like stress about money. Like I don't want to be in survival mode
Yeah.
ever. Like it just is what it is. And but also like I think I could do that and not be stressed too. Like I think I could do it and
Yeah.
just be in a generic job. Um,
Right.
and then maybe I'd have more time to like write. Like I put on my list I want to pitch my book to an agent this year. And so like,
Yeah.
you know, so that's I know that's really like a really big thing. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, here is all of last episode. I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. It was a really busy day. And today I'm like, here's my whole new life plan,
Love it.
by the way. So I
It's
don't know.
okay. I don't have a life plan like at all.
That's fine.
Because this week I finished the Throne of Glass series
Mm.
and I will never be a whole human being again. Um, there
Is
is
that
a
the last one or Crescent City? Have you read
Crescent
Crescent
City. I
City?
haven't read
Okay.
Crescent City yet. But Throne of Glass, it racked me. I have a void in my life, like a hole in my entire being that will never get filled again without it being because of reading about these characters. Everyone said that this was going to happen, and I said, no, it won't.
You
Um,
liar. That's what they said. You said liar.
I did. I called them all liars. I said,
Mhm.
nothing will ever make me love anyone the way Akatar did. And I don't. I still like it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. XR changed my brain chemistry and made me want to be a reader again. And
Right.
Throne of Glass ripped my heart out of my chest, stomped on it, put it back in, and then punched it.
For you. I love that for you.
The number of times that I literally was sitting on the floor in front of the couch sobbing instead of sitting on the couch reading, and Dan was just
Mm.
playing his Marvel video game trying to figure out
What was wrong with you?
if I
Yeah.
needed him to help me cope or if this was a leave me alone kind of moment.
Sure, sure.
And because of
Um,
that, I realized that I can't function without reading anymore. I don't.
Excellent. That's good news though.
It is good news. And I went so long without like finishing a book and like was
Mhm.
so stressed out and so busy and like the only thing I was reading were textbooks. And I like went through a couple years there where I really just didn't feel like I connected to anything anymore. So I would like to handwrite a letter to Sarah J. Maas about changing my life.
You should. I wrote to an author one time. I don't
But
think I ever told you, but I told her how her book changed my life, and it
oh,
was lovely.
I wrote a letter to uh Paige O'Hara, who's the voice of Beauty and the Beast, about
Mhm.
how she changed my life while I was like alone on Christmas in Thailand, and she wrote
Mhm.
back.
Yeah, this author wrote back too.
Yeah. But the thing that I did was when I realized that I'm going on multiple trips this year where I don't think I'll be able to bring books with me because just books are heavy to travel. So I finally bought myself a Kindle.
Yeah. Which one did you get?
I got the Paperwhite with the jade cover. Um,
Mhm. I have that one, but I have it in blue. I used to have it in purple, but they took away purple this last time.
no, the version I have only came in like pink or green.
Yeah, they keep changing it. It's
Yeah.
probably the same one I have. It's really light. It's like just the
Yeah.
simple one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
With the backlight and waterproof.
I have no idea. I just bought it on Amazon. I wasn't paying attention.
Do you have it yet?
Yeah, I have it. It's downstairs. I mean, I can look at which one I got in my Amazon
Because
record.
there's the waterproof one and it has like a backlight. So but it like adjusts to you. So like if you're in the dark, it'll still be where you can read it. But if you're in the daylight, it's like a regular book. And it's not like a
Well, so
light thing.
so this is auto adjusting front light,
Mhm,
wireless
mhm,
charging, a week and weeks of battery life. It's the paper white, so it's not like it looks like
mhm.
a just a white. It looks like
Right.
like a white
That's what I
screen.
have.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is
I'm
the
trying to see which one I have.
it's the metallic jade 32 gigabytes, the all new Amazon Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition.
I have the Kindle White. I have 16G, but I mean, I do a lot of like library books and stuff, and I download, and then I can just undownload when I'm done with
Well, I
it.
also pay for Kindle
Um,
Unlimited, so why am I not using it? Like I've been paying for Kindle Unlimited for years,
for
and
why?
okay, to be fair, when I originally was paying for Kindle Unlimited, it was because I would download Kindle books onto my tablet, like that I'm recording on,
Mm-hmm.
for when I was
Mm-hmm.
tutoring in Thailand. I would download
I
children's
see.
books so that I could help my tutoring kids read them, but have them on my computer. Um, but then I just never stopped paying for
Mm-hmm.
Kindle Unlimited.
I see. I mean, I pay for Kindle Unlimited, but I have had a Kindle Paperwhite for 6 years, so that's when I started paying for it. But I got a new one because my other one
I
died.
paid for it because I used the Kindle app on my tablet, but my tablet's not
Yeah.
any smaller than bringing a whole computer or a whole book with
Right.
me.
Right.
Um, And it was fine when I was using it for like, I need to be able to use the internet and the Kindle and type all at the same time because I'm doing all of these things at once when I'm teaching. But like to go on vacation for 2 weeks and be able to read on a train,
Yeah.
so I did it. I did it.
I'm so thrilled. Like you don't know how much joy that brings me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to show you my.
I didn't open it until I got to work today and Chrissy and Kate like stared at me and they were like, it's like we're watching a live unboxing video. Yeah, that's about the size of mine.
Mhm. It's the one. It's the right one. It's so tiny. Like it literally in some of my like stretchier pants, it fits in a pocket. Like it's amazing.
Oh, it would never fit in any of my pockets, but I don't wear pants that have pockets that big.
Well, I do like some of my sweatpants have like pockets that big.
It might fit in a hoodie pocket.
Yeah, it'll definitely.
I don't. Have you ever seen me wear sweatpants big enough to be have pockets like that?
Well, mine just like they're stretchy, and so it just stretches. Like it's not like comfortably necessarily. It's not like it's loose in there. Like,
Yeah.
but
Well,
so
so
what book are you going to now? You have
well,
not
okay, so
moved on.
I'm in the middle of a book right now because we were gonna teach it and then we decided we didn't have enough school year left to actually
Mm,
teach it, but I wanted to finish reading it. And it's called Refugee. And
okay.
it's actually so it's a young adult book. It's like a book for the that we would have taught for school, but it's called Refugee and it's really interesting because there's three main characters and supposedly the stories will all interconnect at some point, but I'm not far enough into the book for that to have happened.
Sure.
But it's a story of the first character, Joseph. He is a Jewish boy in Germany in 1939, and he is fleeing Germany to get to Cuba.
Okay.
And then Isabel is a character who is fleeing Cuba to get to the US in the 90s. And then Mahmoud is the third character, and he's fleeing Syria to get to Germany in 2015. So, like, it's like all like each country
Is
is connected
essentially
in the
connected. Yeah.
refugee like line. And I haven't gotten far enough into the book for like the stories to have any connection to each other, except for that they're all like 12-year-old kids who are refugees.
Sure.
In fact, where I'm at in the book, none of them are safe right now. They're all in a
Oh,
very treacherous part of their journey to the other country. Um, but
that's
yeah, so I'm
unfortunate.
yeah, it isn't, but it's very well written. I'm really enjoying it. I have thoughts about ways to use it to teach and have like my class split into three groups and have each of them only read one story and then like may have like a research project about the different like I don't know. I've already been figuring out ways I can use it, but yeah. So I'm reading that and then I will start the Crescent City books.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I need a little bit of a like break between
Yeah, that's totally fair.
intense soul wrecking fantasy
Mhm.
series.
I get
So
that.
yeah. But since my soul is wrecked, can you give me joy?
Yeah, for the last time. This is my last one. Um, I can't. No, I can't. Let's see. I have to figure out how to get to my albums again. Albums keeps not wanting to. There. It's okay. It's okay. Um, I will breathe. I will think of solutions. I will not let my worry control me. I will not let my stress level break me. I will simply breathe and it will be okay because I don't quit. Shane McClure.
Love it. This episode of Stargate SG-1 Season 7, Episode 19, Resurrection. It is rated 6.8 stars. Yeah, a little bit of a drop. I have some mixed feelings on it. I don't think it's a great episode.
Yeah.
However, I know a lot of the background, which makes me
Mhm.
want to like it more than I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it came out on Friday, February 27th, 2004. The top song was Yeah by Usher featuring Lil Jon and Ludacris, which means I will never have a new top song for the rest of the year 2004.
For the rest of your life, this is
Yeah.
it.
Still same book, the John Grisham one, and the top movie is The Passion of the Christ.
Ooh, what a
And
weird time.
what a weird time.
Those three things don't really matter.
Nope. No.
Mhm.
On this day, speaking of things that don't go together, I
Mhm.
I have two things for on this day. One of them is a sentence, and the other one is well, and the other one I have more notes written about that than I do trivia about this episode.
Okay.
Um, so the first thing that happened was the first spacewalk to involve the entire crew of a space station was performed on this day. By no means the first actual spacewalk, but the first time the whole crew of the space station was used that once. And also on this day, Shoko Ashihara, the leader and founder of the Om Shinrikyo cult, was sentenced to death.
Hmm. I
No.
don't know enough about that cult. I've heard of it, but I don't know enough
Okay.
about
Okay. So, weird things. He was sentenced in 2004, but he wasn't executed until 2018,
it.
partially because every time they went to do his execution, some of his cult members were escaped fugitives and ran out of jail, and they had to find them
Sure,
again.
sure,
Um,
yeah, that tracks.
um, but then after he died in 2024, they finally ruled in the Tokyo District Court that his remains could be given to his daughter, who was the second of his 12 children.
No, that's too many.
Now, if you would like a wildly in-depth introduction to the Om Shinrikyo cult, go back and listen to the last podcast on the left episodes about it. It is from the 2015-2016, so Ben is still there. It's Henry is still probably on crack. I don't know what's happening. It's wild. But that's where I found out most of the stuff about them. It is wildly fascinating because
I think
it
Sinister had covered it. What, can you spell it for me?
AUM SHINRIKYO. I haven't listened to Sinisterhood, but the last podcast on the left was a 3-part series. That's how much detail they had about this man and his cult. And it started as a Buddhist religious movement that actually in 1989 had legitimate religious affiliation status with the country of Japan. So it is a religious movement turned doomsday cult. Somehow this man actually got people to think that this was like real religion. To the point that Om Shinrikyo still exists to this day.
Interesting.
The cult did not stop existing when he died.
Okay.
And in 2007, there was a radical split in the movement, and there's technically 2 Om Shinrikyos now. They also go by a different name, like it's like Elf or something, because they were trying to like separate themselves from Shoko Ashihara's like thing, because they were like, no, 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 like we're not actually called, like we're just still really Buddhist, like we really do believe in this. But the entire country of Japan distrusts them and is like, oh yeah, those guys, kind of weird. And they like
Oh,
did a bunch of weird like bus bombing, like subway train bombings, and like it's wild.
yeah. Time Suck did an episode on it, not
Okay.
Sinisterhood. So,
Okay.
and are you familiar with Time Suck?
No.
So it's Dan Cummings. He's a comedian. He's hilarious. He's going on a cruise that long because him and his wife do Scared to Death podcast.
Okay.
And so Time's Up, he does like these insanely long episodes of like information. And so he'll have like 3 hour long episodes that it's just him and he just gives you the history and he like goes like I just listened to one he did about Dr. Seuss. And then the last like 20 minutes or so, he does like the top 5 things you should know from this episode. So like a recap. So like here's the things you should have picked up on. I absolutely adore him. I absolutely love Time Suck. It has some stuff that I'm like, oh, maybe you should have said it that way. But like for the most part, like because I've listened to him so long, I'm like, that's not really who he is. You just kind of said like what you should have said, you know?
Okay.
Because I was just scared to do that for a while, and that's so it's Dan and Lindsay, and they're coming on the cruise for Scared to Death.
Okay. I'm sorry. I lied. The last podcast
It's
on the
4,
left
yeah.
is 4 parts. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. So I've added both the episodes from last podcast and the Time Suck, and so maybe I'll do a deep dive this weekend.
Okay. It's
cult.
wild. Apparently, there's also a no.
I think Sinisterhood did like a what is like headlines. They do like headlines on Patreon, and so they may have talked about when he died last year.
Apparently, Serial Killing is a podcast.
Yeah, I saw that too, but I don't know anything.
I don't know them either, but yes. Coffee and Cults is a podcast that also has one
Yeah.
about them. And
There's a
that
podcast called Cults that I used to listen to. And I
Okay.
just didn't really like it that much, but they do it too.
Okay,
There's a ton
yeah.
of cult podcasts that cover
Yeah.
it. But the ones that like I know
But
are
yeah.
Time's Up and Last Podcast.
Okay,
So.
yeah. But no, the last podcast, obviously it's a 4-part episode and a lot of it is them bullshitting because that's what they
Sure.
do on that
Yeah.
podcast. But Marcus's research on it is insane because that's what he does.
Right, sure.
So yeah, if you want to know more about Shoko Ashihara, this is the day that he was finally sentenced to death for the absolute fucking bananas shit that he did by starting a cult.
That's so bad.
That he started a cult that is still in the year 2025 a accepted, verified religious organization in Japan.
Yeah, that's so wild.
The episode of Stargate, though, was directed by Amanda Tapping.
Oh,
Written by Michael Shanks and edited by Brad Rhines.
yeah, what a fun time for it to not be great, but I'm happy for them.
Yes. The guest star was Kristen Dalton. She's known for The Departed, Jack Reacher, and Steel Rain. She is formerly married to Darren Dalton, who the name is probably not familiar to you, but he played Randy the Soch in the Outsiders movie, which means he's automatically important.
I watched the Outsiders.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I haven't read the book either.
And this is the last episode of Death and Aliens. I'm so sorry. What do you mean?
We didn't read it in school until it kind of went by the wayside for me. I would like to. You don't even have downloaded that book to read it. It takes like 3 seconds. I know.
I was like, it'll take you 45 minutes to read the whole book.
I know.
Like,
I know. It's probably time. Yeah. I know. Maybe this will go to it.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. I have taught it to every class I've ever taught in middle school. It is.
It's not like a series though. Like, is there more than one?
There is a second book that I also have taught called That Was Then, This Is Now, and it is set in the same town, vaguely related. One of the characters is mentioned. It is not a sequel. There is just one book. It is just one book. And the author, S.E. Hinton, she wrote it under her initials instead of her name because she thought no one would take her seriously writing a book about gang warfare as a girl. But it is
I've heard that a lot.
But it is based on her actual life of growing up in the poor neighborhoods of Oklahoma in the 60s. It is
interesting.
It is amazing. It is one of the best books. And the movie, there are 7 male main characters in the movie, in the book, and in the movie, it was one of the first movies for all of these people that I'm about to say, except for like 1 or 2 of them already had like film roles, and it was like the beginning of most of their careers, and they are all still friends with S.E. Hinton because of it.
Well, it's like the Lost Boys.
Yeah. Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, Ralph Macchio, oh shit, who are the other 2?
The Brat Pack. This is where the beginning of the Brat Pack.
Yeah. Oh god, what is that poor kid's name? I'm gonna it's so upsetting that I am gonna forget. 2 of them. Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio. Oh, C. Thomas Howell and Emilio Estevez. I can't believe I forgot Emilio Estevez. But yes, so Emilio Estevez, Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Ralph Macchio, whatever. I've just now said all of their names twice.
It's okay.
But it is, and Darren Dalton was also in that movie. She has not posted anything online since 2021. I found both her Twitter and her Instagram, however, literally has not posted anything since 2021. So that's all I got for her. I have a lot of trivia for this episode, but
I love trivia. It makes me so happy.
I'll save it to the end. So we start with a government raid in Los Angeles. Agent Barrett has called in SG-1, but Jack is still recovering from, almost dying last episode. So they're going in without him. The building was an HQ for an NID sleeper cell, and things got so ugly that they actually called 911, which not a good look. And there are 32 dead bodies inside. And Barrett says that we know who did it. And they were like, how? Turns out there is a woman who is still there in a cage who killed everyone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Love that. Then we get the credits.
Love a good massacre.
It's just really weird because that was very similar to the plot of this week's Doctor Who episode, and so now my brain was like, did I watch the same?
That one
as I'm doing this, I was like, I think I watched the same episode twice this week, and I did. In fact, I did actually. Barrett shows them a security tape of the woman being real sus and killing people. But when he got there, she was in a corner crying, scared, and had no idea what happened or how she got there. Yep. They put her in the cell because she said that's where the NID kept her. That was her room. They didn't punish her. That's where she wanted to be. Also, the cell reminded me of Joe's creepy cell in You, and I hated it.
See, I only watched the first season, but I am familiar with that. It made me think of I just watched Gotta Get Out, the reality TV show, and they have a cage. Have you watched?
No, I have not.
But it's like a bird cage.
Is that the new one where they're in the house and they have to sneak out? Okay, I wanted to watch it. I didn't, but I want to watch it. Is it worth it?
Definitely. Oh, for sure.
Okay,
for sure,
great.
For sure.
Great.
I watched it like 2 days.
Perfect. There's only one scientist who survived her murdering everyone. And the other thing is I am currently reading, like I said, I'm reading this refugee book, and then also my other class we're reading about Anne Frank. So I'm like real triggered with the Nazi shit right now. I got a lot of Nazi shit happening right now.
Sure.
So this was not fun for me.
Yeah.
So Barrett shows them into the room with the artifacts, which is the reason he called SG-1, because there is an entire room full of artifacts that belong to Sekhmet. Sekhmet was a former ally of Ra who was exiled probably to Earth. We don't really know what happened to her, but she was caught plotting against Ra. And the Germans had most of the stuff, and the scientist that they have is the son of a former Nazi war criminal. Now, the one thing I did like about this particular thing is that it makes something for sure canon that shouldn't be canon, but I appreciate it because even though it came after, and that is the shit-tastic miniseries we watched, Origins.
This made Origins possible?
Yes, because if you remember in Origins, the reason Catherine and her dad or whatever got their minds wiped and all of the shit happened when they went back into the Stargate was because the Nazis were chasing them. So the Nazis having all this stuff does in fact link that story into this.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Again,
for better or for worse.
For better or for worse. I mean, obviously, Origins came out significantly after this, so they just went back and were like, oh, good. Nazis.
We'll pick out this thing. Yeah.
Which also we know for a fact that the Nazis had a lot of fucking artifacts that they stole from a lot of fucking people. The only place that is more atrocious for artifacts is the British Museum.
Yeah.
Like Hitler 100%. And the British Museum are the only two things in the entire world that stole that much shit and got away with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Don't ever let a British person know you just compared the British Museum to Hitler, though, because they will be very upset.
They would be very upset. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to everyone in the UK.
Please don't cancel us.
Teal'c and Daniel continue to analyze all the artifacts while Sam and Barrett go to interrogate Kefler, the lovely German Nazi scientist. Kepler's a real gem, is my next note. I didn't really talk about anything he said because he just pissed me the fuck off, everything he said. But he won't tell them anything about what happened. He just keeps smoking a cigarette and acting like a fucking prick. After a very unsuccessful interrogation, Barrett then pulls up, but wait, there's more. Because, God forbid, a girl with no memory in a cage and a Nazi scientist is not enough. He takes Sam to a lab with a fridge full of some kind of failed experiment fetuses that he does not think are human.
Yeah. It's just like off the wall.
This felt like an episode of American Horror Story for a hot second. Because there was just so much shit happening and it just kept getting worse. Mm-hmm. Sam starts digging on the computer and she goes to start finding the things. And Barrett's like, we can't get into it. We can't hack it. We hired we called in the data retrieval team. And Sam goes, hey, hi, that's me. What the fuck do you mean?
I know. When she said that, I was like, yeah. Let Sam do her job.
Yeah.
Why are you bothering her?
So while she's doing that, they have a little chat, and Sam thanks Barrett for Woolsey. The Woolsey memo, we find out that her source at the NID is Barrett, which, if we had really thought that hard about it last week, we probably could have figured out, because who else would she be talking to in NID? Right. But also, like, why think about it? There was too much other shit happening last week.
True, yeah, no. We had a lot more going on.
Yeah, and he asks her out. And she's like, oh, sorry, I'm dating someone. Which is a nice little confirmation that Pete's okay. He's doing his thing wherever he is.
Good for him.
Yeah. Teal'c and Daniel find a big fancy case that was a present to Sekhmet, but they don't know how to open it. So that's fun.
No.
Then we have my favorite moment of the episode where Barrett asks Daniel to go talk to the girl because that's what he's good at.
No, he's not good at that because he just marries them.
He was like, you have a knack for that, sir. My note literally says he has a knack for working with damsels.
He just like falls in love with them.
Yeah.
And lets them fall in love with him and win. He's not like the winner in the end.
No. She has some real weird drawings in her cell. Mm-hmm. Really fucking weird. And Daniel tells her her name, we find out her name is Anna. And Daniel tells Anna that he wants to help her, but he's going to need a few things first. And she's like, that's fine. I didn't kill anyone. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So he shows her the tape of her killing people, and she gets very upset. And she says she doesn't remember where she was when it happened, but she knows it wasn't her who did this. And so Daniel starts trying to ask her more questions. He's trying to figure out. He asks her about Kepler, and she says that Kepler made her.
That's not good news. So, do we know Kepler?
No.
So he just has similar vibes to the scientists in the very beginning that like was trying to use the gold to kill himself.
What?
This was like really early on. He tried to get it. He was like dying.
Oh, Aiden?
I don't know.
Yeah, the one who owned the tech company who used the gold to save himself, and then he also like built the gold ship in that creepy town. Yes, no, very different. Aiden was like Zuckerberg, Bezos, kind of full of himself, tech freak. This guy's straight up like a Nazi. He's like the doctor in American Horror Story Asylum.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, like one of these things is not like the other.
Right.
They just both suck.
They just both suck. Fair.
Yeah. The team discusses whether the NID would actually have access to the technology that would be able to rapidly grow a human. Fun fact, they would, because of course they do. And they think it's possible that she's a clone and that there's another one of her out there somewhere, and that's why she has no idea. about these murders because it's possible it wasn't her.
Yeah, it just looks like her.
Uh, don't know why cloning wasn't a thought that they had already when they've all been cloned before.
Right, like this is they have so many things and it's
Then,
like
but
this
yeah.
keeps happening and you keep not remembering that it
Well, and the
happens.
number of things, like, also, why don't we just make a list of all of the shit that has gone wrong to you personally and start with checking off whether that could be the answer before we start asking the big questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, so Daniel goes back to talking to Anna because he's only good for talking to girls. And he
Mhm.
asks Anna how long she's been there, and she says as long as she can remember. She's never been outside, she's never seen anything, she's only ever seen pictures, but she's also only ever had one birthday.
It just that sucks. That's sad.
Yeah. Um, she also then tells Daniel that all of her drawings are things she sees in her dreams that scare her.
Mhm.
And let me just say, I would never draw a picture of everything I see in my dreams that scare me, because I would be institutionalized.
It very much gave Insidious vibes, like her pictures. Not the
Right?
episode, but her pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Also, like, just, just, anytime that someone says, "Oh, I saw this in a dream," and then draws a picture of it, no, no.
Yeah.
Either they are possessed or the picture is going to come to life and kill you.
Right, right. Maybe
Um,
both.
or maybe both. Yeah. Um, but she also says she can't take them down because he hurts her when she does. Great. She's drawing a picture of a scarab beetle, and Danielle's like, "Hey, do you have any more pictures of that beetle with like maybe a box or something?" And she does, in fact, give him a picture of the ark.
Yep.
Great. So he takes it to Teal'c and says, "I think that this is the combination." They mess around with the ark. The combination works, and it's a bomb
Surprise.
because dead scientists, a Nazi, and a creepy possessed girl are not enough. Now we also need a bomb. Um,
This episode was just like, we've done a lot of heavy stuff for you. We've made a lot of like big decisions and you have to like pay attention a lot. Here's this episode.
Correct. a hundred
Maybe you
percent.
figure it out while you go through.
A
Like,
100%. That is what this episode was.
yeah.
Um, Sam gets into the computer, finds data about the artifacts. Somehow we find out that Napoleon had the artifacts and the Nazis actually sold them from Napoleon.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then she discovers that they found a canopic jar, which Barrett has no idea what that is, but really Barrett doesn't know what it is so that they can remind us what it is. It is the jar that the Goulds get locked in when they are punished by other gods, like how Osiris was. But this one means that
Dionysus.
yes, and so now Sekhmet was in a jar. Great. Um, they also discover that Anna is a human Goa'uld hybrid designed to have the genetic memory of a Goa'uld and tell them everything that they need to know.
So she's not a gold, but she's still part of the hive.
Well, that's what they were attempting to do. They were attempting to use genetic
Right.
material from Goa'uld into a human DNA to give the genetic material to someone who would then be capable of explaining it. However, like most of the theoretically interesting and plausible ideas that the Nazi doctors may have had in terms of scientific discovery, they're Nazis and it does not go well.
Right.
Um, so my next note just says Anna was then treated like any Nazi experiment.
Yeah.
Um, we find out that the arc bomb timer is 16 hours. So that's how much time we have to do all of this. Um, Kessler immediately pretends he knows nothing. And Bennett gets wildly aggressive, or not Bennett, Barrett gets wildly aggressive.
Yeah.
Um, And Kepler says their biggest problem is that they're thinking of Anna as a girl
It looks like a girl.
and that they'll have a much better shot um, because of him, because they're all just trying to solve the Goa'uld problem. He was like, I have the same intentions that you do. I'm just willing to find an answer that you're not willing to do. Which is kind of the philosophy that most of the Nazi war doctors had, and it makes me
Right.
want to vomit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he sucks.
Yeah. Kepler says that Anna and Sekhmet are two distinct personalities, and that he isn't sure if this says he isn't sure if it's that Sekhmet's knowledge is so powerful it created a persona, or if it's a mother situation. Like, because the idea,
Like the movie Mother?
no, like Norman Bates and his mother
Oh, okay.
persona.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I was gonna say I haven't seen that movie.
No. Mother, as in Norman Bates, like he shuts
Yeah,
down and
yeah.
becomes mother because everything is too painful. So, like, when the
Right.
bad memories come out, does Anna turn her brain off and become Sekhmet and black out the way Norman Bates does? Or does Sekhmet say, this body is mine now?
Right.
We don't really know. But Sekhmet set the bomb to blackmail Kepler because he was using her psyche as leverage for information on the Goa'uld destruction. So then Daniel gives this girl really false hope for no goddamn reason because Daniel doesn't know how to shut his fucking mouth.
Daniel's Daniel.
And he tells her about the heresis and about him being ascended and losing his memory and how the heresis was able to be saved and what it said about the Goa'uld information. And then was like, yeah, but can you tell me how to shut off the bomb first? Sir, you literally just said,
You gave
don't.
away everything you have.
But also, he said, the thing that the heresis child taught me was that it's never worth it to access the Goa'uld information. Now, please access the Goa'uld information.
Right. This
Um,
man. This man.
So then
the bane of my existence.
we call in, because Sam has to be the Jack of the episode, we call in Dr. Lee to work on the bomb with Teal'c. And we find out that there's an absolute fuckload of naquita in the bomb. And if it goes off, they will need to evacuate all of Orange County.
Yeah. They were like talking about the radius. They were like, yeah, we can stop it here. They're like, that's still a lot. Like, that's still a lot of people.
Yeah. Daniel tries to help Anna understand the thoughts in her head, but he's very focused on the bomb, and Anna says he sounds like Dr. Kepler, and that he's like so preoccupied on his own shit that he doesn't care about her. And Daniel's like, wow, I fucked it up. Of course you did. That's what you do.
Yeah.
God, I love Daniel, but I also want to punch him in the face 90% of the time.
I know, bless him.
So Daniel goes to watch old research tapes to determine how to not talk to Anna. And Barrett interrupts him and is like, no pressure, but also all of the pressure. Sam keeps researching how to help Anna help Anna so that Anna will have the motivation to help them. Like we talked about in the Clarice episode last week, like, no one's going to help you if you can't give them something back. Like, you can't cut a deal with someone if you're giving them nothing.
Yeah.
So Daniel watches the tape and he watches an interaction with Kepler and Sekhmet, and he's like, oh shit. Then we cut to Sam and Barrett talking to Kepler, who says he will talk to Anna and only Anna as long as they give him his freedom and he wants to be able to walk out of this whole thing scot-free. They obviously say no, but then Daniel comes in. And then Daniel comes in and like storms right past them and is like, fuck you guys. And he attacks Kepler. And he's like, fun fact, I watch these tapes and you actually control when Sekhmet comes out and when she doesn't. And if none of this is accidental or part of her brain, you are doing it.
It's all an illusion. Nothing's real.
Yeah. And he believes that Kepler turned Sekhmet's personality on and let her out of the cage because the other scientists were going to turn him in for being a complete piece of shit. Dr. Lee and Teal continue working on the bomb. They open the control compartment and they're figuring out which control crystal they could remove to potentially turn off the bomb. They're working on that. After talking to Kepler, they determined that Daniel is going to have to talk to Anna again. They can't, there's no other way to solve this problem because Kepler is going to continue to be useless. Dr. Lee figures out how to interface his computer with the control crystals, only he absolutely mucks it up and knocks the countdown clock down to 2 hours.
He is such a screw up. Bless him, but he's such a screw up.
I know. At least he's not as bad as on the other one. Could you imagine?
Oh my god. Oh god. No, I can't. I can't imagine.
So Daniel tells Anna that people are gonna die, and he tells her that maybe she can access her memories by meditating, because that's what he did after he was ascended. Then they figure out that Kepler did a botched job of sequencing the DNA just to try to get it to have as much gold memory as possible, and that there is actually no way to save Anna. Nothing that they do will save her. And Daniel tries to help Anna meditate, but Sekhmet seemingly takes over and sets all of Anna's drawing on fire rather than telling Daniel anything. And then in a scene that is very reminiscent of the Silence of the Lambs, Daniel calls the guards in to put out the fire in her cage, and then she just knocks them all out and escapes.
I mean, they had so many Silence of the Lambs.
This was a very, very Silence of the Lambs heavy.
I was like, do they know that we're covering both of these shows?
I don't know, but the fact that there was basically Psycho and Hannibal references in this episode, I was like,
it was meant to be.
Hi, welcome to Death and Aliens. So they start a search for her. And then in what is my greatest fear in any horror movie ever, she pulls Barrett down the stairs from behind him. That is quite literally my worst fear is someone reaching out from the basement stairs and pulling me down by my ankles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And she steals the device that controls whether she can switch back and forth. And Daniel realizes that she isn't acting as Sekhmet. This is Anna trying to like escape and save herself the only way she can.
Right. Which, like, to be fair, is not her fault. Like,
yeah,
she's just trying to survive.
Yeah. So Kepler then also figures out that Anna's crazy and on the run, and takes out the guard and steals his gun and sneaks out. Daniel gives Teal'c and Dr. Lee the drawings from Anna's cage that are, in fact, actually the code to stop the bomb, because she did know it. She did draw it somewhere.
Right.
And Sam and Daniel are searching the base for all the missing people. They're trying to find Anna and Kepler and Barrett and the whole 9 yards. Kepler is sneaking through the warehouse, but Anna finds him and basically calls him the devil. And then she shoots Kepler and offs herself with the device because she knows that there's no way to save her. And then the episode ends.
Like, what is this episode? This whole episode. The whole time I was just like, one, why is this here? Two, I mean, I guess we're like getting back into the gold and making sure we like know there's still like set met and like reminders of kind of how it works, but really, why is this here?
So part of it is making sure that the gold and the NID are still a part of it. Part of it is just like you said earlier, kind of a lull after the intense emotion that was Heroes. And part of it is like we're about to have a really epic end of the season. And so they need something in between. It's really interesting that this is the way that they chose to do it, though, because this wasn't entirely shot on location. Which is not financially the way you do a reset episode.
Because what episode is this? 19?
19. So there's 3 episodes left. Um, like I said, I have a lot of trivia.
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
So obviously we have Hannibal Clarice reference. That was one of my trivia. Um, this is just a couple random things. This is one of only two, I think, episodes in the entire series that are entirely on Earth, but do not have any scenes of the SGC.
Oh, interesting.
And also, this is one of the only episodes that not once is there a Stargate present in the episode. This is the first episode of the entire show to feature Daniel, but not Jack.
I didn't even realize there wasn't a Stargate until you said it. I'm sorry, I stuck with that. I was really thinking about it. There really wasn't.
Yeah. And just random fun fact, the NID, people, like, there was this whole thing where just Melissa was talking about people online trying to guess what NID stands for. Like, what is the actual name? Because they never tell you what the actual name is. And
They don't tell you?
No,
I have been guessing this whole time?
Yeah. But here's the thing, the NID, the reason is because the NID sounds better than NRD. But it was originally supposed to be NRD, which stands for not a real department. Yeah.
I'm gonna think of what the NID stands for.
Yeah. But my other two pieces of trivia, my other two big things of trivia are about Amanda Tapping on this episode. So this is Amanda Tapping's directorial debut.
This was our first one?
This is the first thing she ever directed in her entire career, not just in Stargate, in her entire career.
Maybe because we talked about
her in directing because since Stargate,
she did a Bates episode, didn't she? Or she directed something that someone from Bates had been in, maybe.
Something, yes. That's what it is. She has done a lot more directing. Right now, she does primarily directing, not acting. She is basically a director almost as much as she is an actor now. But this episode in 2004 was her directorial debut. It was the first thing she ever directed. She was incredibly nervous. And if you notice, there was a lot of really very interesting camera shots in this episode because she really wanted to do something because she was like, you're basically filming in like 3 rooms of a warehouse with 3 different stories, and you have to do something to make the episode look interesting. So like one of the things I really liked was the shot before when Daniel was meditating with Anna, and there was that shot of the top of the cage that came around down to them. Amanda worked really, really hard on making sure that there were some interesting shots. The biggest stress for her, though, was she had the same amount of time to prepare for this episode as they had to film the 2-part season finale. So while filming the 2-part season finale, she was doing all of her pre-director work for this episode. That's all the time she had. She was like, I have never been so tired in my entire life as I was trying to film the season finale and get ready to direct this episode.
Well, and I'll say, like, I didn't have a problem with the direction or the visual, like any of that. That was not a thing I had any issue with in this episode. So, like, I think she did a good job.
I do too. Michael Shanks and his writing, he always writes very strange stories.
He sure does. Bless it. Oh my God, yes.
But the other really, really fun, but not so fun fact about Amanda directing this episode, this is the only episode of the entire 10 seasons of Stargate SG-1 directed by a woman.
No.
Yes. Yep.
I need to call Jason Maloney. I don't know why he's my go-to. Like, I know that he's like a part of it, but like, I could call him Richard Dean Anderson. I could call a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it is Joseph Malozzi every time that I want to call him. Like, he's the one.
Yes. So this is in fact and that's why it makes me so upset that it's rated so poorly, because while I understand that in cinematic terms, it's not a great episode. It's an okay episode. The directing's pretty good. The writing's mediocre, but it's not a bad episode. There's definitely been worse episodes of the show. But
and the problem, that's the thing, is like the problems that I have are not with the director. Like, it's the storyline is what it is.
Yeah.
The placement of this episode is what it is. The like, I mean, you know, the acting center miss, depending on who you're looking at. Like, it was kind of bland, but like, that's not That's not her
Right.
fault. That's not the
No,
direction.
and that's
Like-
the thing is, but also, like I said, the season finale of season 7, the lead up into Atlantis is epic. What we just watched was
so tired already.
was an epic episode. So is anything they put here, any episode that they put here, they could have put Window of Opportunity here and it still wouldn't have sat with people as well.
Which one was Window of Opportunity?
The Jack in a Time Loop one, which is the highest rated episode of the entire series. The dialogue is the best dialogue in the whole show. They could have put that here. They could have put a Teal'c Ryak episode here, and
They
it's still
put like a reunion with the Asgard here.
But no, but I'm saying they could have put anything here, and it would have fell flat because people are so emotionally strung out on Janet dying. But it makes me angry because while I recognize objectively that this is not the best episode of the show, I adore Amanda. And also it is the only episode of the entire and you think about it, 22 episodes per season times
that's 220 episodes.
That's 220 episodes. 220 episodes, and one of them is directed by.
That's not even 0.5%.
That's not even 0.5%.
I thought you were going to tell me this was the only one she directed of the whole series. And I was like, okay, we're tying towards the end. She'll probably do something in Atlantis. Like, no problem. And then you said only woman, and I was like, that is not what my expectation was.
And yeah, it is the only episode of the entire series directed by a woman.
That is just unreal.
But then I go back and think about it, and of all of the shows that we've done and all of the things that we've talked about, how many women have we mentioned? Not a lot.
Well, you hold tight for Thursday, friends.
Good. I mean, but in general, like we had a couple women in Bates. We had a couple women
in Hannibal.
I
mean, it's overwhelmingly a male-dominated field. It is what it is. But like, I mean, we're getting a lot more, especially when it comes to like theater. We're seeing a lot more like women directing.
We're seeing a lot more women in theater. We're seeing a lot more women in film, which is nice. But television directing is still so.
I think it's because like
heavily male.
It's such a boys' game because a lot of it is like even though we're not in the time of like 40s like studio like writing and stuff. We kind of are. So like the writers I talk about, they're Paramount writers. They're not, hey, we're writing Ramble. It's like, or like we're not directing. We're directing for the studio we work for.
Right.
And so it all came up together.
And how many names in Stargate change? How many new directors have I mentioned ever? When's the last time I did a deep dive about a director? I don't remember because it's the same 8 guys who do this whole show.
Right. And which like, that's fair. Like you have a team that is consistent, but at the same time, out of 220 episodes, that's the problem. Because like if you told me there's 220 episodes and 15 of them are women, I'd be like, that's still really low. But also like 180 of them are the same people. Like, you know,
right?
So.
I mean, and I also recognize that we were talking about something that happened 21 years ago,
right?
And I understand that the industry has radically changed in 20 years. Not enough,
yeah.
But it has. But for something to be as big and as long and as loved and have so few women.
This makes me want to go through like Law and Order and see what like that looks like.
Yeah.
Because like especially because they have strong female lead. Like I have not watched Law, and obviously like early Law and Order did not have strong female leads. It had like strong men. Because it was Christopher Knopf.
Yeah.
Is that his name? Is that how you say his last name? Christopher Knopf?
I think so.
Mr. Big, he is like
yeah.
And so like obviously that was like very much male dominated when it first started, but like SVU and like some of these newer seasons, like and like NCIS has like strong women leads and like Bones. Like you have these shows, and I'm wondering with these long running, if these are the shows that we're starting to see the strong leads in, are the ones that are starting to have female like directors and writers. And I mean, you know, we do see, I don't know if we've seen a lot of female writers in Stargate necessarily. We see a lot of female writers still in horror sometimes.
Yeah, I
But they're
think
new usually.
we really only had two or three, or one or two female writers in Stargate also. But even like, okay, so I just Googled, like, I was thinking shows that are last a long time. So I Googled how many NCIS episodes were directed by women. Of course, I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now because I'm just quick Googling it, but the AI Google pop up, Gemini's answer says the show has a total of 40 directors listed on IMDb, with the majority being male.
Yeah.
Um,
But like, is the majority like 25 to 15? Because like, yeah, the majority are male in any long running show. That just is what it is. But like, is
yeah,
it like 25, 15, or is it like 38, 2? Like, those are very different
right. Let me hold on.
things.
Series directed by, so there are, yeah, directed by Um, Diana Valentine directed 19 episodes. Leslie Libman, 18. Bethany Rooney, 9. Tanya McKiernan, 9. Martha Mitchell, 4. Holly Dale, 2. Claudia Yarmy, 2. Michelle McLaren, 1. Daniela Rua, 1. So that was 7 women, I think, of 40. So yeah. Granted, some of them have a good chunk of episodes, but it's still of 40 directors, 7 are women.
Yeah. Um, I mean, SVU does a whole thing about this SVU or some more. Yeah. They have the top 10 best Law and Order SVU episodes directed by women ranked. So like they apparently have like they were like it's like out of 550 episodes, it's still not enough. They didn't tell me how many, but they do have rankings, which means there's enough to rank the best 10.
Yeah, hold on,
That's
let
good.
me see it. In the list of all cast and crew, like where it tells me just how many people are on the series in general. Gonna take a second to load. There are, I don't care that there are over 900 people in the show. I would like to get series directed by. There are 23 different directors for um uh Stargate. 23 directors. One is a woman.
So like Law and Order SUV is just now, when did this come out? April 1st, just now getting its first female showrunner out of almost 600 episodes. We're getting our first female showrunner, Michelle Fazekas, for season 27.
Yeah. Stargate, there are 23 directors and exactly one is a woman. There are 45 writers and 3 are women.
That's so wild.
And of the 17 producers, you want to guess how many are women?
One, nine, zero.
0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So while I love the show and I make no complaints about what it produced, it's definitely a product of its time, which is
Definitely.
upsetting. Um,
Yeah, that's always a hard thing to learn.
so who do you want to punch other than male directors?
Other than male directors, oh, makes it tough. No, Kefler. And come
Yeah,
on, the Nazi. I'm gonna punch the Nazi.
always punch the Nazi.
Right.
I'm gonna punch Daniel
Mm-hmm.
because the fuck, dude.
Sure. Yes. Correct.
Um, who's your MVP
Amanda Tapping.
with that? Mine. God, I don't know if I have one for this episode.
I know
Like
this episode did
character
like
wise.
I was already kind of like on the fence about it before you started telling me all these details, and I was like, for sure going with like real person this time.
Yeah, I genuinely don't even know if I can give an MVP to anyone. Um,
And you could give it to Sam for that one time she said, "It's me. I'm the one." Or
Yeah,
whatever she said.
that's true. Or I can give it to Teal'c for the amount of times he raised his eyebrows at Dr. Lee.
Yeah, yeah, you love a
That's
Teal'c eyebrow raise.
yeah. But that's it. One line of dialogue and Teal'c's eyebrows are my MVP.
Perfect, perfect. I love that.
Um, so if you have any suggestions for things that we could talk about that really do give women their day, please send them our way. You can email us at deafandaliens@gmail.com. And you can follow us on all of the social media at Duff and Aliens. You can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And we will see you on Thursday for a lovely episode of Thriller Thursday. Bye.
Bye.